You're welcome to Waidsum Academy. Today we'll be looking at the last part of nuclear physics, and today we'll be looking at radiation. Okay, we'll be looking at radiation. Now, before we go into the uses of radiation, let's listen to this tutorial to find out to our advantage. Okay?
Hi! In this video, we're going to look at some uses of radiation. One use of alpha that you need to be familiar with is in smoke detectors. When there is no smoke, the alpha radiation ionizes the air, forming charged particles which complete the circuit of the smoke detector. A fire produces smoke, which absorbs the alpha particles, so the air is no longer closed, causing the alarm to ring. One use of beta radiation is to control the thickness of certain materials, such as paper. The thickness can be measured by how many beta particles pass through it each second. All food contains microorganisms. This is completely normal, but they can reduce the shelf life of food. Gamma radiation can be used in this scenario. The food organisms and extends the usable lifetime of the food. Gamma radiation can also be used to sterilize medical equipment, perform PET scans to identify tumors, or even irradiate cancerous cells in radiotherapy. Ever wondered how all paper ends up the exact same thickness? Me neither, but we'll look at the use of beta radiation to control material thickness in a little more detail anyway. Paper, or thin metal, are common materials for this, because beta can penetrate these. When the material is too thick, the count rate detected by the Geiger counter decreases. Conversely, if the material gets too thin, a higher count rate is recorded by the Geiger counter. The reason we have covered this use in extra detail is because it comes up so often in exams. A factory is producing sheets of lead which are 2.5 centimeters thick. Lead is passed between two rollers whose separation can be changed. A Geiger counter and a radioactive source are placed either side of the lead sheets. When the lead sheets are 2.5 centimeters thick, the count rate is 60 counts per second. Okay, part 1 tells us to explain how this allows the thickness of the lead to be monitored for 3 marks. This is an explain question, so we need to give reasons for our answers. Let's first consider what happens when the lead is too thick or too thin. We know the lead is too thick when count rate drops below 60 counts per second. Saying something similar to this gains the first mark. Remember, referring to the values in the question will get you a long way in exams, and you need it for the mark here. If the count rate goes above 60 counts per second, then the lead is too thin. This is the second mark. State the obvious in your exam. Don't just assume that this is implied by your first sentence. Also, remember, this is an explain question. These count rates change because thicker lead absorbs more radiation. You can say the opposite, either will get you that third mark. A good rule of thumb for explain questions is to have phrases like, "This happens because," or "which is a result of," to back up your statements. Alright, part 2 requires you to suggest the type of radiation source the factory uses, explaining your answer. Again, this is 3 marks, so we'll make 3 separate points. This is a suggest question. These normally require a bit of thinking outside the box. Before we start, let's look at our scenario. We are used to using beta radiation for material thickness, but beta cannot penetrate 2.5 centimeter thick lead at all. Gamma radiation is the correct type of radiation to use here, and suggesting this gets the first mark. Now, let's explain why we didn't choose the other forms of radiation. neither alpha or beta can penetrate even thin lead. This statement gains mark 2. And finally, we need to justify our choice of gamma. We chose gamma because it can penetrate lead, or we can say that it isn't fully absorbed by lead. These mean the same thing. That's mark 3. Alpha, beta, and gamma sources can be used in smoke detectors, measuring material thickness, and extending shelf life of food products, among other uses. Depending on the properties of the radiation type, different applications will be more appropriate. It's on you to be able to recall these properties and decide the best type of radiation for a variety of uses, and you will normally have to justify your answer. Don't forget to check out all our other fantastic revision resources at Save My Exams.
Okay, so we've seen from the tutorial, we've seen the uses of radiation. We've seen the uses, how we use the alpha, the beta, and the gamma. Okay, we use the alpha for smoke detector or to detect smoke, and how we use the beta for measuring the thickness of materials, and how we use the gamma for sterilizing our food or increasing the shelf lives of our food and sterilizing medical equipment. Okay, so these are some of the uses of these radiations. So radiations are used in different ways. First of all, we use them in medical procedures, including diagnosis and treatment of cancer. Okay, so this one advantage of radiation, even though we think radiation is a dangerous thing, it's not so good, but it has its own goodness, it has its own benefit, advantage. One of it is a medical procedure. It can be used for treating cancer. Radiations, or what we call radiotherapy. You must have heard of radiotherapy. Okay, using radioactive material to treat cancer, radiotherapy for diagnosing cancer and treating cancer. Okay, and number 2 is that for sterilizing food. Okay, irradiating food to kill bacteria. You can irradiate your food material like your apple and all of these fruits that you export. You irradiate them to kill the bacteria that will spoil them, so they can stay for a longer period of time, right? So another point or another advantage or another benefit of use of radiation is for sterilizing medical equipment. So we can use gamma ray to kill everything in the medical equipment, to kill bacteria, virus, and whatever it is, pathogen, anything that can cause problem with the medical equipment, to sterilize your scissors, your medical scissors, any medical procedure equipment that you use for carrying out a medical procedure, any equipment used for carrying out medical procedure, you can sterilize them with radiation, like gamma radiation, to sterilize them. Another advantage or uses of radioactive material is that it can be used for determining the age of ancient artifacts. Okay, like archaeologists must have heard of archaeologists. Okay, must have heard of archaeologists. So archaeologists, they use radioactive carbon to date back a period of time, how long a period of time was that a certain event has taken place. Okay, so this is a benefit. This is one benefit of radioactive material. One benefit of radioactive material. Okay, this is one benefit of radioactive material. It can be used for dating the age of things that were buried long time ago. Okay, you can use to find out the age of certain things that were kept in a long time. Then also can be used for checking the thickness of material. We've talked about this. Beta radiation is specifically good for checking, for maintaining and checking the thickness of papers and thickness of other material. They can be used as smoke detectors and alarm system. And in this case, it's alpha that we normally use for as smoke detection. Now, all the properties that we've talked about of the different types of radiation, they help to determine which one is used in particular application. So we'll be looking at everyone we mentioned, like smoke detector or smoke detecting smoke, thickness of material. Like this one we say is alpha, this one we say is beta, this one artifacts, gamma, This one, medical treatment, gamma. Killing it in the food is gamma. So, and all of those things. Treated cancer diagnosis is gamma. So, all of these things we want to see. Every point we mention, we see which of the radiation it finds its particular application. Smoke detectors, we say alpha particles, they are used in the smoke detection. They are used for smoke detection. Okay. Now we say the alpha radiation will normally ionize the air within the detector. Here is the alpha source. So alpha source releases alpha particle and they travel in the air around here. And they ionize the air around this place. Okay, within the detector, creating a current. So when they ionize the air, they create current, right? Now the alpha emitter is blocked when smoke enters the detector. When by any chance smoke comes here, this source releasing the alpha particle will be blocked. So when the smoke blocks them, they will no longer be able to come here, ionize, to cause current to flow, to enable currents to flow. And once current no longer flowing, this galvanometer or this ammeter, we fall back to this side. And then this one will ring alarm. So showing you that the smoke has blocked the alpha that is ionizing, causing ionization and causing current to flow in this system. So current will no longer flow once this one is being blocked. Okay. So when current is detected, there will be no what? There will be no alarm. But once the smoke blocks it, current will no longer flow. So once there is no current, this bell will ring. This alarm system will ring. So this is how we say alpha particle is used in the detection. Ionizes the air to create current. Ionizes the air to create current to flow. Is that okay? Okay, so this is what it is. The smoke comes in, block this alpha source, smoke fills the ionization chamber, and then no current is created. Once no current is created, then what will happen? You see, this deflection that was reading current, blue means it's reading current, green means it's reading current. So it falls back to the red side, meaning no more current is flowing. Once there's no current, this one will, you see, the bell will start to ring. The alarm system will start to vibrate, make sound, meaning there's no more current flowing, because the alpha particle used to ionize the air around this place, around this chamber. So since there's no more alpha particle, there are no positive ion and negative ion being ionized anymore. So it's used for as a smoke detector. This is how alpha particle is used as a smoke detector. Now let's take a look at measuring the thickness of material. The radiation we use is the beta particles, right? Radiations can be used for tracing or gauging the thickness of different materials. Okay, most common is the beta particle. The most common one for gauging thickness and for measuring thickness of material is the beta particles, right? So here, let's take a look at it, right? We say, as you see, the material moves above the beta source. Let's look for the beta source. This is the beta emitter, and this is a radiation detector. This is a radiation detector. This is the beta emitter. It emits beta ray. So we say as the material moves above a beta source, the particles that are able to penetrate it can be monitored using a detector. These particles that are able to penetrate this are monitored by a detector. They are monitored by a detector. So if the material gets thicker, more particles will be absorbed. If you make this material thicker, this material is aluminum foil. If you make the aluminum foil thicker, more of the particle will be absorbed. They will not be able to penetrate. They will not be able to pass. But if it's not so thick, then more of it will pass. More of this radiation, beta particle will pass. So we say if the material gets thicker, more particles will be absorbed, meaning that less will get through, will pass through, and will be detected by the detector. Less will be detected if you make the aluminum foil thicker, right? Now, if the material gets thinner, then it means more of this beta particle will pass through. If you make the aluminum foil thinner, more of this beta particle that is emitted by the emitter will go through and will be detected by the detector, right? Will be detected by the detector. So this allows the machines to make adjustments to keep the thickness of the material constant. So with this, you are able to keep the thickness of this material constant. So you know if you want it the thickness to be less, meaning more of the beta ray has to pass. If you want the thickness to be more, less of this one has to pass. So depending on what thickness you want to keep constant, it determines how much of this happens. Is that okay? So this is how we use it to control the thickness of the material. This is how we use the beta particle to control the thickness of material. Okay, so now let's move to the next one. Let's move to our next one. Now, beta radiation is used because it will partially absorb, will be partially absorbed by the material, right? It's partially absorbed by the material. That's why we use beta particles. If you use alpha particles, if alpha particles were used, all of them will be absorbed, right? Because you know beta particle can pass through the, not all, but some of them can pass through the aluminum foil, right? Beta particles, some of them can pass. But alpha can even be stopped by a sheet of paper. All of them will be absorbed by a sheet of paper for alpha. So alpha will not be a more suitable particle to be used to check the thickness of the material because none of them will pass through. All of them will be absorbed by the material here, by this aluminum foil. So that's why we opt for a beta particle. That's why we opt for a beta particle. Because in beta particles, some of the materials can go through while some will be stopped. Now, if we use gamma, all of them will pass. If you use gamma, where to be used, all of it will then go through the detector and will not be able to sense anything. So there will be no difference between thickness. There will be no change in the thickness. So in this case, alpha is not good because none can pass. Gamma is not good because all can pass. So we need something in between, which is beta. So we use beta particle because some of them can pass, some will be stopped, some will be absorbed. Okay, now let's go to the diagnosis and treatment of cancer. Now, what do we use for diagnosing and treating cancer? Okay, here there's what we call radiotherapy. Radiotherapy is what is the name that is given to the treatment of cancer. So when you have cancer, when you go for treatment or you're taking treatment, we say, oh, he's undergoing radiotherapy. So meaning you are going through treatment. And what do they use to treat cancer? We use radioactive substance, okay? In as much as radiation is very dangerous, it's also used for killing cancer cells, okay? So radiotherapy is the name that we give to the treatment of cancer using radiation. Now, chemotherapy is treatment using chemicals. So when you hear someone is undergoing chemotherapy, is undergoing treatment using chemicals. When someone is undergoing radiotherapy, is undergoing treatment using radiation to kill cancer. Okay? Radiation can cause cancer. This is the big challenge. If radiation is causing cancer, how then are we using radiation to cure cancer? Right? Yeah, sometimes the things that can cause you disease can also be used for curing the disease. Yes. For example, flies. You know, one wing of a fly is poisonous. The other wing is antidote for the poison. Okay? So that's why you see that in science, it's been proved also, and in religion, body has been proven by Prophet Muhammad that you can, when a fly perch on your food, you can dip it in that same spot. Why? Because one side, in science has proven it, that one side of the fly contains poison, the other side of it contains the antidotes for treating such poison. So the things that cause you disease can be used to treat the disease. So radiation causes cancer. The same radiation is being used to cure or to treat cancer, right? Or cancerous cells. So radiation can kill living cells. Some cells, such as the bacteria and cancer cells, they are more susceptible to radiation than others. So even if radiation can kill your cells, if you now get cancerous cells, or bacterial cells in your body, this radiation can also kill them, can also fight them. That's why we use this method, radiotherapy, for treating cancer. Now, beam of gamma rays are directed at the cancerous tumor. So how then do we treat cancer? We direct and focus a beam, not just one ray. Beam means many rays. Beam of gamma rays will be directed towards the cancerous tumor, okay? And you, for a while, for a specific period of time. So by so doing, you end up killing the cancer cells. You end up killing the cancer cells. You end up killing the cancer cells. Is that okay? Okay. So gamma rays, they're used because they are able to penetrate the body. Because if you bring alpha, alpha can even be stopped by a sheet of paper, can be stopped by your skin. Will not be able to penetrate your body. So alpha is already out of it. Beta will be absorbed, most of it will be stopped, many cannot go through your body. So the reason why we are using gamma ray is because gamma ray can penetrate your body and get to the tumor, the cancerous tumor in your body, and kill those cells. So the beam that we use, usually they are used to minimize the harm to healthy tissues. Okay? They are used to minimize harm to healthy tissues. Okay? It's because it's being aimed to the tumor that is causing the cancer. So the beam is not totally focused to the whole cells of your body. The beams are directed to the tumor to kill the cancerous tumor. So a tracer is a radioactive isotope that can be used to treat the movement of the substance like the blood or around the body, right? A tracer is a radioactive isotope that can be used to track the movement of substance. You use a tracer to track the movement of your blood around your body, okay? Okay, so that's it. Now let's move on. Radioactive therapy to remove a tumor. This is the process. These are the procedure, the medical procedure. Here's the tumor in your body. Okay, here's a tumor in your body. So we direct, you see how we direct the beam of radiation towards the tumor. We direct it from here towards the tumor. We direct from here, towards the tumor. Okay? So we want to kill this tumor that is growing in your disease. So we use radiation to kill the tumor. The another use of radiation is for sterilizing food and medical equipment. Another use, we were mentioning them one after the other. Another use is for sterilizing food and medical equipment. Look at them here. So we've explained the smoke detector. We say here is alpha, right? We mentioned here is alpha. What we use here is alpha. For smoke detector, we use alpha to kill or to, the alpha particle normally, alpha source releases alpha particle that normally ionize the air around in the detection area, and then that air produces the current that flows, right? That is being detected by a meter or by a galvanometer. Okay, but once you put the smoke in the way, smoke will block the alpha particle from ionizing the air and producing current. And once that happens, the alarm will begin to ring. So this is how we use it as a smoke to detect smoke, that there's smoke around. So it can be used for smoke detection. Measure thickness of material like paper, sheet of paper, aluminum foil. Okay, we can use the beta particle. We say beta. If you use alpha will be stopped by aluminum foil. Okay, can be stopped by aluminum foil. So we can use beta because some will be absorbed, some will penetrate. So we'll be able to measure how much penetrate and how much is being there. So in that way we're able to control the thickness. Then we talk about the diagnosis and treatment of cancer. We measure the gamma ray for treating cancer. We say the beam of gamma rays are directed towards the tumor that is growing in the body and are used to kill the cells, those tumor cells. Okay. Then another one is sterilizing food and medical equipment, which is what we want to look at now. Another use of this is, we say this one is beta. Remember this. This one is beta. Beta particle. Alpha particle, beta particle. Okay. So for measure the thickness, we choose beta. We choose beta particle. For treating and for diagnosis and treating of cancer, this one, because the body can stop alpha, we don't use alpha. The body can stop alpha particle. The body will absorb a lot of beta particle. So here we use the gamma ray. Here we use what? The gamma ray. So we say gamma. We say gamma ray. Also for sterilizing medical equipment. We also here we can use gamma as well. We use gamma. To kill the bacteria, to kill any bacteria that may find its way to the medical equipment. Because you have to sterilize them before you use them. In fact, if you go to a barber shop, the barber should have something to sterilize the clippers for cutting your hair. Okay? So now let's take a look. So gamma rays is gamma radiation is widely used to sterilize medical equipment, and gamma is most suitable or suited to this because one, it is the most penetrating out of all the type of radiation, out of the three types of radiation. So it's the most penetrating, and it is penetrating enough to irradiate all sides of the medium of the equipment or of the instruments. So you can use it because it can penetrate a lot, and then it's able to irradiate the equipment or the instrument. The instrument can be sterilized without removing the packaging. You can use the gamma to sterilize without removing the packaging, because it can go through whatever packaging you have put in place. So you don't have to remove the packaging and you still sterilize it. This is why it's so wonderful. Food can be irradiated in order to kill any microorganisms that may be present on the food, right? And this makes the food last longer and reduces the risk of food-borne infection from causing diseases to our body. Now let's take a look at an example. So we should use this diagram to explain why alpha particle or alpha radiation used in smoke detector and not beta or gamma. And not beta or gamma. Okay. Smoke enter smoke detector here. Smoke go into a smoke detector here. So when the smoke go in here, the smoke block the airway, right? Block the airway and stop. The alpha was releasing as alpha source was releasing alpha particle that were initially ionizing the air and causing current to flow in this system. Causing current to see here, look at it here. Alpha particle ionize the air. See, alpha source is being released here, going here, ionize the air, and cause current to flow. Charged particle move across the gap, forming current. See, here after you've allowed alpha particle to release alpha source to release alpha particle, it ionizes the air to cause positive and negative ion to be liberated and cause current to flow in the system. Now, after you have released the smoke, there's something else is going to happen. It's going to block it. The smoke will block it. Smoke in the machine will absorb the alpha particle and make the current to fall. It will absorb all the alpha particle and make the current to fall. It will no longer continue to flow as current. So when that happens, then there's going to be alarm that is going to sound. So Americius 241 alpha source. Okay, here's an alpha source. Here's an alpha source. Here's a detector. This is a siren with sound when the current falls. When current falls, this one will make sound. A siren with sound. This is the detector. A detector senses the amount of current that is present here. Okay, measures or senses the amount of current that is present. Here is a battery to power the system. Okay, so this is how this is used. When you allow smoke, without smoke, current continues to flow. But when you allow smoke in, smoke will block the ionization and then cause this alarm to sound because no more current flowing in the system. Okay, so this is one application or how it's being used in case you are being asked in the exam. How it's being used in case you are being asked in the exam. Now let's take a look at, we say alpha is the most weakly penetrating and strongly ionizer. We already know this, we've studied this. Alpha is very weak in penetration, but is a very strong ionizer. It's the strongest ionizer of the three radiation, but is the weakest in penetration. Beta and gamma have stronger penetration power, but they have weaker ionization power. They have better penetration, gamma and beta and gamma. They have stronger penetration power, but they have weaker ionization power. If beta or gamma radiations were used in this situation, then we will pass straight through the smoke detector and no alarm will sound if you use beta. Okay, because they will not be able to ionize a lot of positive and negative charges, okay, to cause current to flow. Okay, so that's that for this part. I think let's see the last one for this chapter. Okay, so that's the end of this part. We will do this danger of radiations as a second part.